One of the achievements, and indeed the primary output of the project, is a new system that supports program design and approval. Can you talk us through how this system works?
Sure. If I use this poster, because we've got a fairly effective diagrammatic representation of what goes on, I'll give you some kind of headlines. The first stage is that on our portal system, Associate Dean with responsibility for programs within a faculty will make a system, will make the system live by identifying it has a new program to design, or indeed initiate a reapproval of an existing program. And the way they do that is they click on a button and they identify a working title and the program director designate, or the design lead for the program. At that point, that person gets an automated email on their inbox saying that this space has been set up and inviting them into the system. They click on the link that's included in the email and they'll find themselves in the SharePoint system, because that's what this system's based upon. And they themselves will then begin to kind of identify their own team members, and the process of design can begin. Now, it's a staged process. I'm not going to dwell on all of the stages in this short video here, but suffices to say that they spend some time thinking about the program philosophy and the aims, and once that's sorted, they can then begin to think about the design of the modules. Now, each of the modules within the program is allocated to a specific individual, and only they can actually author the words that go onto the web form that will eventually form the module template. But the system is designed to be very transparent to all of their peers within the program development team, and there's parallel discussions and the ability to append files and so forth. So by using such tools as embedded discussion forums and the ability to upload sort of minutes of meetings, videos of meetings, audio of meetings, photographs, anything they really like or would help them, they begin to iterate the design of whichever document that they work on, and within there's some nudge functionality. If you're not getting much input from some of your peers, you can actually elect to nudge them, and they'll get prompt emails in their inboxes to asking them to engage in a specific way. Now, the reason why this online iterative design is so powerful is it becomes much more open. People don't have to come to the university to have conversations. It's a virtual space, and we can then invite all sorts of stakeholders in to begin to influence design. Now, really, if you think about it in relation to such things as external experts who we see making an appearance at the approval panel, here they can actually have some input in the design stage and begin to offer all of those positive comments and suggestions much earlier in the design process. So this iterative design benefits from having all of these stakeholders, students, external experts, professional bodies and so forth, library and learning resources, input into the design. When everybody's happy with the design of the philosophy and aims, or indeed the module descriptors, it gets signed off, clicked, and then all of the inputs within the web form actually dynamically build the module descriptor, since we're using that as an example. At the point when the design process gets signed off and all of the consequent documents get signed off, pretty much that's the program being approved. That's it in a nutshell, really. There's some other things that I think we should talk through, in that because we have this virtual space and the documents get generated in a very particular form, there's only really ever a single point of data entry. There's only ever one finished document, and it lives on the system. As we work through time with programs that have been improved in this way, and you go through a minor change process, you can amend it on the system, and those changes cascade through all documentation. And you'll see here the broad timeline in relation to the generation of documents, in that the philosophy and aims is now hived off as a separate endeavour, and then they work to produce the module descriptors and the course specification, and finally the course guide. Interestingly, if you're putting stuff in the module descriptors or the course specification that would also appear in the course guide, by the time you get to the course guide, you'll find that will be pre-populated with those elements for you, so it's a single point of data entry. So that's broadly the way the system works. It sits on SharePoint. SharePoint handles the iteration of the documentation through web forms. It dynamically builds the documents from the final finished web forms, and it does some of this workflow stuff in that it will email people at particular points, either via a nudge or through sign-off points that are built into the workflow. I hope that's clear.